And Ayo Mairo Ese, good morning to you. Good morning. We're excited to be here.
Good morning, good morning, good
Good
morning,
morning.
good morning to you, Tega. Hi,
Good morning, Lagos.
how are you?
All I want for Christmas is
You.
breakfast.
At
I wanted to
a
mention that
particular
the
place.
I wanted to mention the name of the place, and I remember that those people didn't pay for adverts.
Mm-hmm.
We're
But I
starting
want
tea.
breakfast at that place.
Yes.
All right.
I'm
Okay.
just telling people in case
I should
somebody
not.
wants to surprise you.
Yeah.
It's EK, that's the initial of the place.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you went to this school complete. Oh,
I
Thank
don't know
you.
places
we
they
owe
call
you
that.
school fees.
Thank you.
The last
Yeah.
time I found a restaurant with that name or those two letters was
Yeah.
not quite bomb.
No, don't worry.
It's
You don't
in
have to come. Just give
it's
me
in
your card
Lagos.
and your number, your PIN. That's all. You don't
Okay.
need to come.
Sin. Please send messages to WhatsApp 0809444091. That is our WhatsApp number for your messages as you interact with us during the show. It's called the Locker Room 981, and we'll segue into the very special better with Coca-Cola moments in 15 minutes. All right, so stay with us as we go through the stories. Remember Twitter as well. We are live there.
Twitter is at Smooth981 FM. Kindly use the hashtag LockerRoom981. On YouTube, our YouTube fans and family, shout out to you. Please make sure you go onto youtube.com, search out for Smooth981, and you'd see the Locker Room Live. Use the live chat option as well to send us your messages and banter when it's time to banter better with Coca-Cola.
All right. In the wake of his team's best win of the season, the Golden State Warriors coach Steve Kerr acknowledged that his group hit a different level in Wednesday's 116 to 104 win over the Houston Rockets. In his words, Kerr said after Thursday's practice, "We got to a different level yesterday. In terms of our execution on both ends, it was the best team we've played, and it was great that Steph Curry and Klay Thompson were on the sidelines cheering them on and so active. At one point, the referee told me he wanted me to tell our guys not to run on the floor. And I said, that's not happening. We've had a lousy season. We're going to run on the floor. And I said, if you've got to call it tea, you've got to call it tea."
I'm telling you, the girl was like, we've been losing all year, and the nerve of you to tell us not to be jumping up and down. Come and hold us now. Let me see you.
Come
But
and beat me.
come and beat me. But let me tell you, it's this simple. If you haven't watched the NBA before playoffs finals last season or this season at all, you will not believe that the Golden State Warriors are champions back to back. Let me just put it that way. They are 7 of 24, lost 24, won only 7. That's how horrible they've been. They haven't had their best players for most of it, like he did say. Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, any other Thompsons you can see with Golden State Warriors. They have 4 of their major starting 5 out for a while, and so there was that struggle. Game after game, they were losing. And so even if they're not even at this point, and they're not looking at hopes of going to playoffs. They're just looking at, let's just manage to get some wins.
Yeah.
And they have 3 in a row. And one of the people that the team that they were defeating yesterday was the Houston Rockets. It's not any team. It's one of the top echelons. It's the Birdman's team. James Harden. So you're talking about a Derby County record beating a Manchester City. Yeah, it's a big deal. I'm not saying that they're debut cards. I'm just saying that think of a club that has that record beating a Manchester City. It's a big one for them. And so Steve Kerr is just happy that they're able to compete again and they're able to put their heart in it and get win out after win. So for the ref to walk up to him and say, "Tell your boys to stop jumping on the floor. You're on your own." You would throw all of us out on.
like Integra's was, you want to see John die?
I'm telling you, like we're not even messing around. But it was such a great result, and Golden State Warriors just needed that celebration and that win because that's all been doom and gloom for them.
All right, let's move on to what's happening with LeBron James as he aggravates growing injury and loss, and he could miss time. A collision with Patrick Beverly in the first quarter of the Lakers 106 loss Wednesday night to the Clippers caused LeBron James to aggravate a nagging groin injury and could cause the Lakers star to miss some game time moving forward. Now, here's what he said. "I felt healthy going into the game." He said this after finishing with 23 points. And he said, "I got kneed in the groin, taking a charge from Pat Bev, and it's kind of set me right back to where I was 5 days ago.
Good news is he's finished having children.
Me.
But on another note, yeah, he was taking a charge. He's the one that decided to put his body on the line. He could have just let the guy make it all the way to the net. Nothing would happen. But what it is that, first of all, despite the fact that he came back for this particular game, they still lost. So Clippers have bragging rights in LA now for this season. It's not an easy one for them, considering the fact that, like I said, Lakers were top of the Western Conference. Looked like everything was honky dory, and now they're going to have to miss out on LeBron James for a few games this season. Not looking very good for them. They want to have their best player on the court, just having fun. So in spite of the fact that they'll still be smarting from the loss to the LA Clippers on their home court in their home city, it's going to be worse for them if they have to play without LeBron James for a while. They have the rotation, the team rotation to survive a few games, but there are games that you will definitely need LeBron James to run the floor, and unfortunately he will not be around. So let's wait to see how long this will take him out, for 3 to 5 games. Maybe more, because he's not a young guy anymore. It's not a spring chicken. But let's see how long it will take him out for. But you know that it's Christmas when we have 2 NBA games on the locker room.
Yeah, absolutely. I was like, back to back.
My goodness, though. But injury. I'm the only. Well, 2 guys here, so we understand.
Yeah.
Okay. Messages to WhatsApp 0809 444 0981. The Sweden star Zlatan Ibrahimovic has reached agreements to join AC Milan on an initial 6-month contract, according to multiple reports in Italy on Thursday. Ibrahimovic has accepted Milan's proposal and is ready to sign a deal to return to the former European giants within the next 2 days. Gazzetta dello Sport and Sky Sports Italia reported this. Now, Ibrahimovic will reportedly sign a 6-month contract worth about €3 million, with a renewal option for another year, linked to certain conditions such as goals and appearances.
So he's going to make €3 million for 6 months. 6 months. Why am I here?
I don't know. It just immediately sounds like your wrong profession.
You know, what did I go to school for? Anyway, but what it is you will see this kind of contracts with special talents, but they're aged, and that's what it is. Ibrahimovic is 38. They're not going to give him one long-term contract.
No.
They're going to see how much form he's in. So this is a gamble they're taking, because 3 million is still money. This is a gamble he's taking, and so
it's 3 million. Okay.
Valentine just quickly did the math.
So yeah,
In
naira, yeah.
How much is this? 1 trillion. 1 trillion naira.
Is that not 1 billion?
Is this billion?
No,
This million?
No, that's million. It's 1 billion now. 1.2 billion.
1.2 billion
naira in
yeah.
6 months.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's not all the money he's going to make, because when you make moves like that, there'll be money off the pitch.
It's bad enough.
But what it is he's 38. They're not sure how his fitness is, how much his body would help him, how much time he would need, which is why they're predicating the extension of his contract on the number of appearances he'll have, and the number of goals he will score. So if he scores more goals just to get a longer contract, they are going to give him the contract, and then he can be sick throughout from the rest. So I think, I don't know that it's a good thing, but AC Milan are not in the best of places to be making decisions on or cherry picking players. So any player they can get, I guess they're trying to put their hands on. I would have said, however, if I were the management of AC Milan, I'd take this money and be building for the future, because apparently this season is largely between Inter Milan and Juventus. Aroma's hanging on the back, and somewhere if Napoli and Gattuso start to perform well, which I doubt, they will get into the mix. But for AC Milan, I'd say the next 2 or 3 seasons should be for building back. So instead of giving Ibrahimovic 3 million, I add some money and get one 21-year-old and give him time. But Ibrahimovic is Ibrahimovic. His agent is doing a good job.
Yep.
I guess I have to talk to his agent to help my condition.
Yeah, talk to his agent. We need to talk to his agent as well. All right, we have some comments, but we'll take them for later. You guys don't want to chill. We're going to come back and
Cruz, how's this one though?
Well, Cruz says Zlatan is that guy that always changes jobs, and people just wonder what's wrong with you, Seth. But everybody still loves him because he always delivers, even when with all the bragging and bad blows he's known for.
And please add your names to your messages. Thank you very much, Henry from Ado Ekiti. We'll take your messages in time.
Yeah. So Manchester City striker to decide future, says Pep Guardiola. Guess who the Manchester City striker is? Let's find out. So manager Pep Guardiola says Sergio Aguero will decide his own future upon the expiry of his contract in June 2021. Here's what he said. That's Guardiola. I would say it will be one of the toughest things. He's irreplaceable. We have an incredible striker in Gabriel Jesus, and maybe will come another one when Sergio is leaving, but he is irreplaceable. I think the most important moment of this club is the moment Sergio scored that goal against Queen's Park Rangers to win the first Premier League. That moment is much better than 4 titles in one season, and he was the guy. It's not easy to find a guy with his status, his personality, what he has done in the football career with this humility.
And to think that when there was a time that Pep Guardiola did not want to see this boy around the area, he did not even want to know that. Look, if I find you in my neighborhood, you will see my red eye. A lot of people questioned it because, I mean, here's a guy that keeps pounding in the goals when they're needed. Why don't you like him? Because of his build up to play. I've noticed that Pep Guardiola doesn't necessarily like out and out strikers. He struggles with them. He likes you to be in the build up for play. And Aguero is like, I don't need to do that if I can score goals. But ultimately, I think they've worked out a relationship and they've worked out his position on the field, and he's delivering the results. And Pep Guardiola would also have this to say, considering the fact that Aguero's been out for weeks, and Gabriel Jesus, yes, he has scored some goals, but he's also struggled. And so it is now that you recognize the importance of a striker, that even if he just plays on the shoulder of the last defender, he's getting you the goals that you need. But Aguero is 31, and sometimes the Premier League can be a bit tasking, and a player may feel, well, I've won the titles, I've proved my mettle, I shouldn't continue to struggle and stay here. So ultimately, it still comes down to, yes, Aguero deciding whether he's going to stay or he's going to leave. So Guardiola doesn't have a choice in this one. He's just stating the facts. But what Guardiola does have a choice in is today's match against Wolves, because Manchester City travels to Wolves and then plays. They don't have 48 hours like the rest of the EPL. They just have maybe 24 or 36 hours, which is really sad, because I didn't see why Manchester City couldn't have played yesterday like the rest of the EPL. I didn't see it, especially as they're still mathematically competing for something. So don't do that to them. Don't put them on the back foot. But Wolves is a really tricky one, and they're going away to Wolves. Wolves can hit you on the counter and get goals, and that's a team that Manchester City will be afraid of right now, given that they are light behind and they've been giving up easy goals. So it's going to be a hard one for him to manipulate and manage, and that's where his attention is most needed. Not Aguero's contract, but the results today against Wolves. What it is Liverpool has gone far. They are already almost at the finish line. Manchester City is trying to decide, can we play catch up or should we just settle for second? So they don't want to fall behind anymore, especially as Leicester dropped the ball at Liverpool yesterday. It would make sense for them to take advantage. So that should be his worry today, not contract.
What time?
Tonight, sorry.
Tonight? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. All right, let's take a break. You know what's coming up next. It's Banter Better with Coca-Cola. Stay with us.
Coke will be happy to hear that. Already people have been tweeting Banter Better Coca-Cola.
Thank God. Banter Better with Coca-Cola.
Check if this light is on. If it's on when we're talking, don't leave. If it's off, you can leave. Come back in. Yeah? It's called on air light. So when we're talking on air, don't open the door.
He's confused.
No, he's compartmentalizing it.
Like, what lights on? Lights
you
are
see
already
it.
on.
When
You
I turn
see
on the
it.
mic, you see it.
for banter. You won't make your club carry last. Oh yeah, time still day. Waka enter shop.
I am so sleepy, eh?
Bottle of Coca-Cola, take on your side. Make you day fresh to banter better. Banter better with Coca-Cola, the official soft drink partner of the English Premier League.
Me? I'm coming up.
As a trailer, he is in fifth place. Is he close enough? Is he close enough?
I did the last one. Man City.
Yes. Look out!
When you hear that, you know it's time for us to banter better. It's always fun on this segment, right? It's brought to you by
Yeah.
Coca-Cola. The hashtag with all your messages should have banter better with Coca-Cola, and send it to WhatsApp 0809-444-0981 and on Twitter.
On Twitter, it's at Smooth981FM. Use the hashtag LockerRoom981 and, of course, banter better with Coca-Cola.
Right, and please keep your comments clear of any vulgar or insulting or disparaging words, and let's make it sane and enjoyable and interesting. Jurgen Klopp, Liverpool do not feel, don't think or mention Premier League title. Well, Liverpool do not feel, think about or mention the Premier League title despite opening up a 13-point lead at the top, says manager Jurgen Klopp. According to him, quote, "The only thing that changes is the numbers are different," he said. "It was 10, 11 and now it is 13 points. We do not feel it. We don't think about it. We did not mention it once before the game. It is just not interesting."
Yeah, 13 points with a game in hand. And considering the fact that they are yet to lose, it could be anything. I would say this. He may tell them not to talk about it in the locker room. He may tell them not to talk about it in training, but he cannot stop them from thinking about it. Even he thinks about it. Like when he wakes up in the morning and he watches other matches and he sees people drop points, he's like, okay, now it's 16. We are close to breaking the jinx. Exactly. It's a difficult place to be because you do not want to. Last season, Liverpool had, I think, a 6-point advantage. 6 points is nothing to compare to 13, but and they still managed to lose it. But so he doesn't want to jinx it. But I think by now, if I do want to be like, you have a momentum, you've been winning game after game, so you can carry on. I don't think that they don't think about it. That would be a fat lie from the pit of hell. It crosses their mind,
Of course.
but they don't want to just talk about it too much. Don't get too excited about it. If you put that in your head too much, or if you talk about it too much, you may lose focus and start dropping points. You want to keep that pressure on like it's never happened, and they have every right to do that. It's been 30 years. The least they can do is wait a few more months to finally grab this trophy. But it's been a fantastic job by Liverpool. Even the games where they have been horrible, they have gotten results. Some people have played well and can't get results. They sometimes have played a horrible game and still come out with all 3 points, not draws, all 3 points. And then some days they execute a perfect game match, like yesterday against Leicester City. And I would say this for Leicester City's mettle under Brendan Rodgers. After the penalty was given against them, the second goal, I think they just said, oh, well, we've lost now. We've lost the game now. And because they did that, the third goal came in, the fourth goal came in, it could have been 5.
And that's because Liverpool, the players were poised. They were ready.
The Liverpool players just kept mounting the pressure, but it was as if Leicester City were holding forth for as long as they thought they had a hope in the game. The minute they looked like that hope looked like it had fizzled away, they just dropped the ball. I kid you not. After the second goal, they could have conceded 4 more. It wasn't down to them holding forth. It was more like Liverpool missing a few chances that they could have scored. So that part of the mental strength, a lot of teams need to work on. Because sometimes you can go 3-0 in a game and still come back and at least draw. So do not do that. But for Liverpool, they kept pushing. They kept the pressure on. They kept creating chances. They kept running at Leicester City, and as soon as the dam broke, what can I say? They took complete advantage. So yes, don't think about it. Don't talk about it like you've already achieved it, because you just never know how the second half of the season will be. But I know it's in the back of their mind. They're like 13 points now. Tomorrow, if Wolves does a good job, we are pretty much safe.
It's such a good record for your own club. So good.
I'm telling you.
And in the spirit of banter better with Coca-Cola, I'm sorry about that. Henry from Ado Ekiti is asking, so please, this is Liverpool. They don't want to lose.
And then Prince from Ikoton says, hello there, Liverpool is on fire. And then on Twitter, we had Nathan send this to us much earlier. He said, hashtag banter better with Coca-Cola. The level of confidence with which Liverpool play with, with me this season is wow. And it's a major reason why I said we'll win the league this season with style. Yesterday's win was a clear, loud, and emphatic message. It's coming home, baby.
It is. It is. That's such a good one.
And then on YouTube, we have from Collins in there. My boys traveled all the way from Asia to banter better at Leicester. Best team in the world, Biko. Hashtag banter better with Coca-Cola. Then he goes on to say, best 3 right backs in the world. 1, Trent. 2, Alexander. 3, Arnold. Hashtag banter better with Coca-Cola.
You will never walk what?
Alone.
That's right.
That's a nice one.
Right, move on to our next story for today, and we have here, don't forget to use the hashtag banter better with Coca-Cola. Send your message to WhatsApp 0809 444 0981. Mikel Arteta hails Arsenal's spot-on attitude following 1-0 draw at Bournemouth. I love the way they keep encouraging themselves. So Arteta says, I'm very pleased with some of the things I've seen in terms of attitude, character, the passion we showed, and the fight and the spirit the team showed. It was spot on, probably better than I expected over 90 minutes. A lot of things that happened in the game we prepared, I think they understood them and they tried to take them on board, and we liked the final product at the end.
Well, coaches change, but the Arsenal spirit is still the
Honestly,
same.
it's like they take us an induction camp.
Well, I'm not just talking about the inspiration, I'm talking about the draws. But, but that's it. That's a banter better with Coca-Cola. But I would say this. I did see a slight difference in Mesut Ozil. He was falling back. He was helping people try to put in tackles. He was helping defend. I was like, which Mesut Ozil is this one again? But when a coach, with Arsene Wenger, he was fine. But when a coach like Unai Emery has come and gone, and then Freddie Ljungberg also had that little thing with him in that one game before he handed over to Mikel Arteta, I guess that now, if anything happens, it is your fault, because the 2 coaches now that have come and have had a problem with you, you don't want the third one. At some point, it's going to be the player's fault. It can't be that everybody else hates you. And so he's putting in the work. I saw one that was really impressive where he had that long pass and to find Lacazette. Unfortunately, Lacazette did not score. In fact, most of the chances I fell to Lacazette that I would have scored, me on my lazy day. Lacazette did not put it away, and that was part of the problem. But Mesut Ozil is really changing. Some players are trying to put in more work. Maybe it's because they're talking to a Mikel Arteta that they're familiar with, or they're just trying out this new coach, knowing that this relationship between Arteta and Arsenal is a long one. So they will go instead of the manager to leave. So I guess that's why they're saying it. But at the end of the day, it was still the same problem defensively. The way Bournemouth were able to pick apart Arsenal's defense, and that goal that Bournemouth scored wasn't the only goal that they could have scored. It was more down to their ineffectiveness than Arsenal's competence in defending. So they still have that problem from midfield. But if he has seen confidence and he has seen hope, who am I? All the way from Africa to see something else. Let's wait and see.
All right, so Zizi Classic says, hashtag banter better with Coca-Cola. The only difference between Frank Lampard and Father Christmas is just the red cloth. Because both are cheerful givers. That's the reason why Chelsea donated 3 points to Southampton as Christmas package last night.
Emeka from Amor says, I'm thinking Chelsea should change the name of their stadium from Stamford Bridge to Third Mainland Bridge, because right now it's just vibrating anyhow. Excuse me, Third Mainland Bridge does not vibrate. It's infinite. It says maybe they will need 37 billion naira to renovate it. My brother had to switch the channel to Nickelodeon after Southampton scored the second goal. Hashtag banter better with Coca-Cola.
Agumbiade Real One says, when you think you're back to winning ways, only for Southampton to remind you that Jose Mourinho was the motivation in your last win. Hashtag banter better with Coca-Cola.
All right, and Henry from Ado Ekiti is back. He says, hashtag banter better with Coca-Cola. Fans no get chill at all with one Which one is Arteta out? Arteta out. They're so frustrated. Up United, he said.
Taya from Yaba says Liverpool is traveling away from competition like they are not coming back. Hope they don't slip. Chelsea is the new Manchester United. From Shalaya FC to Robin Hood FC. Arteta Pep's dress code, but not his game plan. Coaching by association. Let's hope for the best. Hashtag banter better Coca-Cola.
Nice one. You guys are bloody.
Let's take his next story now. Jose Mourinho. It said Tagri Ndombele, who did not want to play in Tottenham's win over Brighton. In his words, the coach was quoted as saying, I cannot say he's injured. I can say that yesterday he told me he was not feeling in condition to play the game, not based on injury, but on fears of previous injuries that he had since the start of the season. 2, 3, or 4 muscular injuries, and the feeling of not being ready to start the game. But I cannot say that he's injured. I can only say he's not in the condition, which is a different thing.
Okay. So
But he's injured.
Well, he's not. And I think the reason why Jose Mourinho is speaking his words like this, when Jose Mourinho starts speaking his words like this, you know something is about to happen.
Yes.
Now, Ndombele he wasn't injured. There were questions about Ndombele. In fact, that's why he's giving a special answer for this issue. You came into a club, they've bought young players, he has pace, he's structured, he's disciplined. How come he's not playing? And so Jose Mourinho is answering and saying, I'm not the one that decided that. Ndombele came to meet me to say, he can play. He was with me in training. He didn't leap off injured. He just said he's afraid that one injury that he had a few weeks back may come back. And so he's not in the condition to play.
So there's possibly a maligning problem that he's sensing. That
Either that or Jose Mourinho is beginning to look at him and think that you are not ready to compete. Because for Jose Mourinho to come out to the press and say, I cannot say he's injured. He just told me he does not want to play and he's not in the condition to play. Jose Mourinho is just telling you that it's not my choice. Left to me, at least he would have played 15 minutes. But guy say he's not ready to play. That's why he didn't make team list. So the two things here, I'm beginning to suspect that maybe Ndombele may not be happy with the role they're giving him to play, not the time, and maybe he's kicking out, or maybe he has a niggling injury, but because Jose Mourinho and the medical staff haven't seen it, he's beginning to look like he's picking and choosing his matches, and he may not be the kind of person that wants to compete for sports, and therefore he may not be competitive enough to be making Jose Mourinho's team. There could be many things to it, but for him to come out and state plainly that he's not injured and it was not my choice to drop him, then it's already telling you that there is something going on there. So I want to wait and see how this drama plays. On the other hand, Tottenham came out yesterday and it was the most amazing thing. 12 minutes to the end of the game, Jose Mourinho started to park the bus. And I'm telling, look, I don't think Tottenham in their life have parked balls before, in their entire lives, because their players for Tottenham Hotspur are so attack-minded that even to stay in a defensive position was doing them somehow. As you could see on the pitch, that they were ready to let go. So I'm questioning how long before they start to kick against these tactics. Yes, they understood yesterday that they needed the 3 points and they needed to win. And so when the game was 2-1, it made sense not to give away. But they would also be thinking that we could have scored more, because they could have scored more. They did create 1 or 2 chances when they broke away. Unfortunately, Sissoko didn't put one in and Hurricane threw the other one away. But I don't know how long Tottenham players and Tottenham fans especially, because even there was a time when they were defending that the camera panned to Daniel Levy and he looked frustrated. This is the beginning of the marriage, and you're already frustrated at Jose Mourinho's defensive tactics. So there may be. So I don't know how long this thing will last, but it was clearly discomforting for the fans that were watching and the players. So let's see how let's see how this relationship pans out.
Wow. Still on Liverpool or Southampton, we have this message in. Please add your names to your messages so we can take them. Shay says hashtag banter better with Coca-Cola. This is Shay. Southampton shattered, battered, and bantered Lampard. Please, Lampard, change your leopard skin. Get a helipad and fly, so Chelsea won't be hampered. Kilo day. How can you beat Tottenham and Southampton beat you? Oh wow!
Nice one.
Well done.
Nice one.
True and Nancy, hashtag banter better Coca-Cola. London officials should please shut the gates of Stamford Bridge. It's no longer suitable for Chelsea's home games. They can be using the West Ham Olympic Stadium. What is all these poor performances at home?
Chinwe Nancy has shut down like a Nigerian politician. Just lock the gates.
Shut down.
And Cruz is back. Say wait, Is that Arteta's statement the statement he wanted to make if they had won? Abi na the one he talked after the draw.
I'm
He
telling
said Toto
you.
is going to compare himself with Snail, go thinking so fast. So Liverpool now is their mates, not their senior. Hashtag banter better with Coca-Cola.
Nice
And
one.
then we have from this one. Please make sure I put your name. Oh, Henry from Ado Kitty says, but hashtag banter better with Coca-Cola. And my question today is Arteta and Mourinho, who would last longer? But thank God Arteta stole some of Guardiola's cloth.
We're done. Thank you so much for bantering with us.
you.
It's a better banter with Coca-Cola, and that's why we always use the hashtag. Let's continue that conversation on social media. Twitter is at Smooth981FM. Use that hashtag banter better with Coca-Cola, hashtag locker room 981. And special thanks to Tega
Thank you,
Onojaife
Tega.
at Tega Supreme at Airlines International. You get to hear about the ladies in sports and the activities in the sporting world, especially relating to female folk and how far they've gone so far. Next, banter for a Feel Good Friday here on Smooth 98.1. Guess what the topic is?
Guess what the topic is?
Wait, today is Friday.